Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, teaches that wealth is not about how much you earn, but about how much you can keep and grow. One of the biggest enemies of your financial freedom is impulsive buying. Think about the last time you bought something just because it was on sale or seemed like an unmissable opportunity. Maybe it was a pair of shoes, a gadget, or even something small, like home decor. These seemingly insignificant purchases add up and drain resources that could be working for you, like in investments. Kiyosaki warns, every time you spend without planning, you're taking money out of your cash flow. In other words, you're taking resources that could be used to create wealth. How to avoid it? Follow the 48-hour rule. Before buying any non-essential item, wait 2 days. This gives you time to evaluate whether you really need it or if it's just a momentary emotion. Also, ask yourself, will this item add value to my life or is it just a whim? By applying this strategy, you'll notice how many of your impulsive purchases can be avoided, leaving more money available for what really matters, investing in your financial future. Robert Kiyosaki always says that one of the most dangerous financial traps is spending money to look rich instead of actually building wealth. The obsession with luxury brands is a classic example of this. Designer clothes, expensive accessories, and status items may give the impression of success, but in practice, they're draining your financial growth potential. Why do so many people fall into this trap? Because we live in a society that values appearances. Buying something expensive with a famous logo might seem like an accomplishment, but according to Kiyosaki, this habit is often rooted in insecurity or the desire to please others, not in the actual value these items provide. He emphasizes the rich buy assets, the poor buy liabilities they think are assets. In other words, investing in luxury items that don't generate financial returns is the opposite of building wealth. Instead of focusing on the logo, focus on the quality and usefulness of the item. Ask yourself, is this product really worth the price? Or am I paying for the brand's marketing? Also, set a clear limit for these purchases and prioritize investing in assets that generate income, such as real estate, stocks, or knowledge. By adjusting your focus to real value rather than status, you'll be taking an important step toward financial freedom. After all, as Kiyosaki teaches, true wealth is quiet. It doesn't need designer labels to be noticed. Robert Kiyosaki points out that the pursuit of leisure often leads people to unnecessary spending, especially when it comes to temporary hobbies or frequent outings. It's easy to get excited about trying something new, whether it's buying expensive equipment for a hobby you might abandon in a few weeks, or regularly going to events and fancy restaurants. These little luxuries, when added up, can take up a significant portion of your budget, diverting resources that could be invested in something that truly brings a return. Kiyosaki teaches that the real secret to building wealth is making conscious choices about where and how to spend your money. Exploring new hobbies is important, but that doesn't mean spending large amounts right away. Start small. Test whether you really enjoy the activity before investing heavily in equipment or accessories. In the case of frequent outings, set a monthly limit for leisure to ensure it doesn't exceed your financial capacity. With organization and control, you can enjoy leisure time without compromising your long-term financial goals. Remember, wealth is built by daily decisions, and every choice matters. One of the most common mistakes pointed out by Robert Kiyosaki is spending money to impress others. Many people fall into the trap of buying luxury cars, living in bigger houses than they need, or acquiring expensive items just to be seen as successful. This behavior, although it may seem harmless at first, is one of the greatest enemies of financial freedom. When you spend to maintain an image of success, you're exchanging true financial progress for a fleeting illusion. A luxury car, for example, isn't just the purchase price. There are costs for maintenance, insurance, taxes, and fuel, all much higher than a more affordable vehicle. Likewise, a very large house, or one in an expensive neighborhood, may mean a mortgage or rent far above what your budget can afford. Kiyosaki highlights that those who truly want to get rich should focus on what he calls real needs. A car is a tool for transportation, not a status symbol. A house should be a comfortable and functional home, not a financial burden. The secret is to live according to your goals, not the expectations of others. To avoid this trap, set a limit for spending on material goods like cars and homes. For example, don't allocate more than 10% of your monthly income to car expenses, and choose a property that fits your budget and meets your real needs without excess. By directing resources toward investments in assets, as Kiyosaki teaches, you'll begin to realize that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your real wealth will be growing, while those who spend to impress will remain trapped in the cycle of consumerism. After all, those who are truly wealthy don't need to flaunt it. Their financial security speaks for itself. Have you ever stopped to think about the various monthly subscriptions you have and never use? It could be Netflix, a gym membership, or even that meditation app you installed but never open. These small charges that seem harmless can, over time, accumulate to a significant amount. According to Robert Kiyosaki, these subscriptions are a form of money leaking without you realizing it, and they can prevent you from building a solid financial foundation. When you subscribe to a service, there's an expectation that you'll use it regularly. However, many times these services end up being forgotten, and payments continue to be made month after month without any real return. This happens because it's easy to forget a small automatic charge, but when combined, these amounts can represent a significant expense over the year. Kiyosaki suggests that instead of making these recurring payments, you periodically assess what you're actually using. He believes that true financial success comes from the ability to identify unnecessary spending and redirect it towards something that truly contributes to your growth, like investments or financial education. Review your subscriptions and cancel those you don't use or that don't add value to your life. By doing so, you'll free up resources that can be better applied to your financial goals, such as savings or investments that truly help build long-term wealth. Robert Kiyosaki is very clear when talking about debt. The rich use credit to buy assets that generate money, while the poor use credit to buy liabilities that make them poorer. One of the biggest financial traps people fall into is using credit to buy items that lose value quickly, like electronics, furniture, and clothing. Buying something on credit may seem like a practical solution at the moment, but it's a way of postponing an expense, carrying the debt into the future. The problem is that items like new cell phones, furniture, or clothes quickly depreciate. By the time you pay the last installment, the value of the product has already dropped, but the debt is still there, compromising your budget. Kiyosaki warns that this practice goes against the idea of creating wealth because you are taking on debt without the purchased item generating any financial return. He suggests that instead of financing such purchases, it is ideal to save until you have the necessary money to make the purchase outright. When you pay up front, you avoid interest and, more importantly, don't jeopardize your financial future. Furthermore, Kiyosaki reminds that using credit irresponsibly ends up tying up your resources and creating a cycle of debt. The key here is to understand that while you are paying for items that do not add value, your money is working against you. True wealth begins when you decide to stop financing goods that won't bring returns and start investing in assets that can generate money in the future. Eating out can be a real temptation, especially when life is hectic and restaurant options are just a click away. However, as Robert Kiyosaki teaches, small daily expenses can have a significant impact on your finances. Eating out frequently, whether for business lunches, dinners with friends, or quick deliveries, can become an expensive and unnecessary habit. When you buy a meal out, you are paying not only for the food, but also for the convenience. And often, what seems like a small expense quickly adds up over time. If you stop to think about it, you may find that the amount spent in a single month on restaurants or delivery could be more than you'd spend on an essential expense, such as a utility bill or even a planned vacation. Kiyosaki emphasizes that one of the keys to accumulating wealth is controlling your spending, especially on things you can avoid. Eating out frequently is one of those traps. He suggests that you start planning your meals, buying ingredients and cooking at home. This not only helps you save, but also gives you more control over what you're consuming, which can be better for your health and well-being. Reserve eating out for special occasions when it really makes sense. Creating the habit of preparing your own meals at home is an effective way to save money while simultaneously investing in your financial future. Remember, each small financial choice is a building block toward your freedom. The temptation to try your luck is something many people face, whether in lottery games, sports betting, or even scratch cards. Robert Kiyosaki points out that spending on gambling is one of the most ineffective ways to try to build wealth, as unlike investments, the odds of winning are extremely low and the return is almost always negative. Although gambling may seem like a fun way to pass the time, the problem lies in the repetitive behavior. Every bet, every lottery ticket purchased, is a small amount of money you are putting into something that doesn't generate real value. This type of spending becomes a temporary escape that, in the long run, can drain your bank account and divert your attention from more effective wealth-building methods. Kiyosaki suggests that, instead of spending your money on gambling, you should redirect that energy to something more productive. Invest in your financial education, for example. Learning how to invest in stocks, real estate, or even start a small business can provide much greater long-term returns than any bet. Wealth doesn't come from luck, but from learning, discipline, and smart decisions. Instead of trying to win the lottery, focus on creating real opportunities for financial growth. Every penny you don't spend on gambling brings you one step closer to achieving the financial independence you desire. We live in an era where technology is constantly evolving, and it's easy to fall into the temptation of upgrading your smartphone, tablet, or gadget with every new release. However, Robert Kiyosaki warns that constantly upgrading electronic devices is not a good financial strategy. Instead of adding value to your life, these purchases can end up draining your finances unnecessarily. The reality is that technology depreciates quickly. The phone you buy today, with all the latest features, may lose value in a matter of months. And often, new models offer only minor improvements that don't significantly impact your daily life. This constant upgrading behavior, besides being expensive, doesn't bring any real financial return. Kiyosaki suggests a more rational approach. Instead of giving in to the temptation to buy the newest model, use your devices for a longer period, preferably until their performance starts to genuinely decline. Rather than spending your money on new gadgets every few months, it's better to repair your devices when necessary, which can be much more economical. This kind of thinking goes beyond simple savings. It aligns with the idea that you should invest in things that bring returns. Technology should be a useful tool, not a constant expense. By prioritizing maintenance and prolonged use, you not only save money, but also avoid the depreciation that comes with the excessive consumption of new products. Often, when searching for a good deal, we end up opting for low-quality products, drawn in by the lower price. But as Robert Kiyosaki teaches, buying cheap items that don't last is a false economy. At first, it seems advantageous to save a few bucks, but over time, the total cost ends up being much higher than buying a high-quality item. When you buy something of low quality, like clothes that tear quickly, kitchen utensils that don't work well, or electronics that break right after the warranty expires, you're creating a cycle of continuous spending. With each new cheap item you buy, you're actually spending more than if you'd invested in something more durable. Kiyosaki suggests that instead of seeking the lowest price, you should focus on long-term value. Buying something of good quality that lasts longer and performs better may require a higher upfront cost, but over time you'll save money since you won't need to replace the product as frequently. He emphasizes that when you invest in quality, the return isn't immediate but rather over time, as you avoid recurring costs for replacements. Kiyosaki's mindset is about spending wisely. Invest in things that will last, add value to your life, and won't require constant new purchases. This will help you keep your financial resources more controlled and build a solid foundation for your financial freedom. True wealth is not built overnight, but through the choices we make every day. Robert Kiyosaki teaches us that to achieve financial freedom, it's essential to make conscious decisions, such as avoiding unnecessary expenses and focusing on investments that truly add value. By following these tips and making small yet significant changes in your financial habits, you'll be on the right path to a healthier and more stable financial life. Now it's your turn. Start applying these tips in your daily life and see how small changes can make a big difference in your future. Remember, the key to wealth lies in smart and consistent decisions. If you enjoyed this video and want to continue learning more about how to improve your financial health, don't forget to like, leave your comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share this content with friends and family so that more people can achieve the financial freedom they deserve. See you in the next video.